Okay, at cad hit you han gonna teach hat ye ade. Ach tu yek e yich sitini the cad you han. Ach tu yek e wuch in get you hatangi stutul tu ya ya gitza. Welcome in everybody. It's great that you've come here. I'm grateful you've come. I'm happy that I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy that we're studying Tlingit together today as well. So, quick show of hands, who watched Kuhanti? Has anyone seen Kuhanti yet? Not yet. Okay, well, we're going to jump into our review. And then if everyone remembers all the phrases, that'll be our treat at the end of the day as we'll watch Kohanti. I'm excited about it. I watched it a couple times, and I think it's going to be a fun learning tool for us to spend our next 4 weeks together, to slowly pick it apart and rewatch it. But jumping into our lesson, I'll pull up our slides. And we'll hop right in. Okay. So here we are in the Tlingit multi-level course for fall 2023. This class is sponsored by Hatuch Tlachish, KTOO, and Discovery Southeast. Today, Yaya Gidech Yagiyaya, Ḳukahaa Dís, Dachadushu Yawachiyadis. Today is Tuesday. It's the second day of the week. It's Ḳukahaa Dís, or November, and 7 days have passed this month. Dachadushu Yawachiyadis. Jumping into our review, I'd like everyone to repeat after me. Go ahead and unmute your mics. Unless you're in a construction zone, you have a lot of background noise going on. Go ahead and just unmute your mics and repeat after me. Єкеhat ї ади. Gunalchish hat yi ade. Єкеhat єгуде. Gunalchish hat yegude. You had do a sock. Make sure that you're rounding this K. So a KW is rounded, which means you're going to round your lips and breathe out the K with your lips in the rounded W sound. So repeat after me, just this last syllable starting with the S. Repeat after me. Sock. Better. I can hear that it's rounded. And when elders who think it is their first language, when they hear it, they can hear a difference if you don't round the K. And they'll understand what you're saying, but it might be a little distracting. So make sure if we have a W after our K, that we always round our lips as we breathe out that K. So one more time, repeat the whole phrase after me. You a sak. Go. And this whole phrase, repeat the whole phrase after me. Take a deep breath and relax. Because if you're like me when you're learning and you're just starting out and you see a lot of words with a lot of underlines and pinches, your chest might sort of tighten up and that can cause your throat to tighten up. It's important when you're starting to learn that when you do your pronunciation, you relax because you don't want to constrict your vocal instrument. So, without breaking it down too much, just listen to me. Take a breath and repeat after me, just the best you can. Wherever you're at is good enough. So here we go. Repeat after me. Tlingit cheinach yuchad duasak. Good.
They have so much urgency. We are going to have to
And uh okay, thank you. And for now we're just focusing on pronunciation. Afterwards we'll go through the meanings. Okay, repeat after me. Oh wait, hang on, sorry. I need to change. I have a typo. One second. Leitcha has a high tone A. And let's go back into it. Okay. Repeat after me. Leitcha reinach yuchaduasak.
Leitha yuchaduasak.
Both of these vowel sounds in reinach are high tone. So let's do just this word. Repeat after me. Make sure both your vowels are high tone. Reinach. Yeah, good. Okay, so jumping back, you sounded good. That was just a review of pronunciation. And now I want to hear what each one means. You all can just talk on top of each other. You don't have to raise your hand or be called on. What is the English meaning of Ykehadi?
Good
It's
that
good
you
that
are
you
all
all
have
good that
gathered
you have
here.
come.
It's good that you have come here. Good that you all have come here. Is this phrase for talking to one person or multiple people?
Multiple.
Multiple.
Multiple people. And how do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, ye is you're addressing multiple people, and also ye
Yigun.
de. This verb is specific to multiple people walking. If it's just one person walking, it's a different phrase. We'll look at that. Okay, the English meaning of gunalchish had ye ade. What is it?
I am grateful that you all have come.
Ye away. I am grateful that you all have come. And what is hot?
Here. Or?
To hear.
Yeah, to hear. Very good. Okay, I threw that in. That was kind of, I haven't been making you break down each part yet, but that I'm grateful that you all have come to hear. Hot is to hear. Okay, what is the English meaning of yikehat yagude?
It's good that you, one person, have come here.
Yeah, away. You, one person, have come here. And how do you know I'm talking to just one person?
Both the ye and the good.
Yeah, instead of ye, we have ye. And we haven't gone over this yet. This is a multi-level class, and the people who are saying this have already learned it previously. So we'll get into it as a group. But also yigude. This is the verb for one person to walk, good. Whereas multiple people walking, yiad. Okay. Just little things I want you to start to internalize. You don't need to have a huge breakdown, deep understanding of it yet. We're just getting into it. Okay, what is the English meaning of gunalchish hatigude?
Thank you for coming here, singular.
Yeah, away. I'm thankful that you have come here, singular. This is our yigude. This is a phrase for talking to one person. Yigude. Okay, English meaning of yuchaduasak.
My name is, or I am called.
Yeah, away. I am called. And what do you put in the blank here?
Your name.
Yeah, my name.
Think it.
Yeah. So everyone go ahead and repeat after me. I'm going to say my name, Nilatoga. You all repeat your name for the blank and repeat the rest of the phrase. So, Nilatoga yuchatuasa.
Unyanagudi
And
Yukaduasa. Adeline Yukaduasa.
Okay. Gonna cheese you, Han. Thank you. And what is the English meaning of Llingit Einach yuchatuasa?
My name is.
Like it. My name is.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
include.
In Tlingit, my name is blank. And the English meaning of Tleit Kalkeinach Yuchatuasak.
Right man.
In English, I am called.
Yeah, what in English I am called blank. Okay, any questions on those so far? I'm going to continue to review everything we learned so that you all have a count of how many phrases you can read, say, and understand. Because my job is to make you connected with your goals. I read through your goals thanks to you filling out your pre-class survey. And so we're starting with a metric of, I'm ready to start learning. I cannot yet read or write or say a sentence. Now we're keeping track of how many you can say. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 so far. Pretty good. Okay. Pronunciation review. We're going to keep touching base. A lot of you have a goal of understanding the sounds in the alphabet in Tlingit. And so we're going to continue to revisit how they're written and how we pronounce them. One of the sounds we've seen is a rounded K. So it's written KW. And when we pronounce it, we round our lips while breathing out the K sound. And so this example, we did it. Let's do it again. Repeat after me. Yukhatuasak.
You
Up.
Yeah, I see your lips rounding and I can hear the difference that you're rounding it. Okay. Next one is a pinched sound. How do we know that a letter should be pinched?
By the apostrophe.
Yeah, away. If you see an apostrophe after a letter in Tlingit, you know to make it sound snappy. You're pinching it. So you pinch the K by snapping it. I've heard it described as you're snapping your teeth on it. So I've also heard it described, you're shutting your lungs, the air off your lungs, and pushing out the air that's already above your throat. So in the word yake, we pinch the K. If it wasn't pinched, it would sound like yake. Since it's pinched, it's yake. So repeat after me. Yake.
Yake.
Any questions? Let's do it again. Repeat after me. Yake.
Yake. Yake.
Yeah. And what does yake mean in English?
Good.
good.
It is good. Yeah. It means it is good. So if I ask you, Yikeakwe, is it good? What could you say in response?
Okay.
Yeah, you could say ah or yike. So let's do it. I'll ask you and you answer. Yikeakwe.
Okay.
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 Benachish. Another sound is called a uvular sound. It's underlined. So underlined letters you pronounce in the back of your throat. And so an underlined X, what you're doing is making friction back here and breathing out the sound. So for example, repeat after me this word, khat.
Crud.
Oh, everyone do just a nice, long, flowy underlined X. Repeat after me. Yeah, and just the word, repeat after me. Khat.
Crud.
Okay. Very good. A pinched uvular, we have an underlined letter that's also followed by an apostrophe. So what are we going to do differently with this one?
Snap it.
Yep.
Sharp.
Yeah. It's sharp, snappy, pinch it. That's what the apostrophe tells us to do. So again, we're making friction in the back of our throat, but now additionally, we pinch the sound by closing off our air and pushing out what remaining air is still in our mouth. So this underline X followed by an apostrophe is the sound we're gonna make. And repeat after me. Einach. One more time. Einach. Yes, you sound good. I'm impressed. When I started learning this sound, I would get excited and accidentally pinch all the other X's in the word, and I could hear that you did not do that. So that's very good. This first one should be pinched. The second underlined X is nice and flowy. There's no pinch there. So one more time, repeat after me. Naax. Mm-hmm. Very good. New phrases. We're building off what we've learned so far. And the first line, repeat after me. Naax.
E.
And the second line, Yadiyayachat. Mm-hmm. The blanks are for the first one is your mother's clan, and that's what clan you are, is your mother's clan. The second line, the blank is for your father's clan. That's the clan that you're the child of. And so for mine, I put my mother's clan, German Kwan for German. I'm German American on my mother's side. We're the Funkhauser clan from northern Germany. And so I say German Kwan nach Hetziti. And my father's people are the Gunana or the Athabascan people. And so I say Gunana Yadiya Yechet. So I'm going to read to you. Just read along. This is, again, your chance to just sit back and relax, follow along with your eyes on the words as I read to you the larger conversational context of our phrase that we're learning today. Jamin kwana chatsiti. Yikehat ade. Nila toga yuchat duasag. Jamin kwana chatsiti. Gunana yadi ayechat. Llingit yuchatangi kuat latuwuch chatsiti. And our translation. I am German American. It is great that you have come here. I am called Nila Toga. I am German American. I am child of the Athabascan people. I am a Tlingit language teacher. So we'll jump into our practice. Everyone repeat after me, sitee.
City.
Away, sitee.
City.
And repeat after me, chat sitee. Naax. Mm-hmm. Naax, chat sitee. I'll do it again and repeat after me again. Naax, chat sitee.
City.
Away. What do you notice about the vowels in this phrase, in these three words?
They're long.
Some of them are long.
They're all low.
They're all low. And so you might have noticed we sounded kind of monotone when we said it, and that's because they're all low. Our long vowels are in nach. Repeat after me, nach. And then we have a short A in chet. Repeat after me, chet. Followed by a short I and then a long double E. So repeat after me, sitee. And the whole phrase, nach chet sitee. Yeah, really good. So pronunciation, we have an underlined X. Repeat after me. Chat.
Hat. Hat.
Naax.
Naax.
Yeah, you sound good. Sitee.
Naax.
Sitee.
Now, however you identify as what your heritage on your mother's side, go ahead and put that blank. I'm going to say mine, which is Jam and Kwan. However you're identifying today as your ancestors on your mother's side as their descendant, fill in the blank with your heritage. So repeat after me. Jam and Kwan na Sitee.
Sitee.
Okay.
I have a quick
And
question.
is that a question?
Yeah, well, you said German, basically German Quan am I hearing that right? So
Yeah.
if we have like French or English, could say like French Quan, France Quan. I mean, how would
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so in Tlingit, there's different like some of the European places and like Canadian places have a Tlingit name that's commonly used, and then sometimes we just apply Tlingit pronunciation to that country. So there's no R sound in Tlingit, and usually it changes to beans goes to Queens. France, font. I would say maybe France Quan as a starting point. France Quan.
Once Quan.
Yeah, because that sounds like in France, it's more of like the R is a little different anyway. It's more like a W. France Quan. Yeah.
Fine.
And so this is, you go by your mother's mother. So if like in my case, on my mother's father's side, I might be England Quan, England Quan. But on my mother's side, that's my matriline. That's what I identify by. It'd be German, Germany. Does that answer your question?
Perfectly, thank you.
Okay.
Not quiche.
Okay, I'm gonna say my name. You put your name in the blank and repeat after me. Nila Torah Yuchat Duasak.
Adana Yuchot Duasa.
Oh. And we have a pronunciation practice for a rounded K. Again, Nila Torah Yuchat Duasak.
Thank you.
Duasa.
Okay, so we're looking at our translation now of these four phrases that we've learned. The first one, "Gonalchish hadiyadi." I am thankful you have come here. The P in brackets is for plural people, and you all have shown me already that you already knew that. Next line is Yuchatuasak. I am called blank. Followed by your clan. Nachatsati. I am of the blank clan, or your nationality. Last line is your father's people. Yadia Yechet. I am child of the blank. And that's your father's people. So let's do this one. We haven't done it yet. If you know your father's nationality or clan, you can fill it in the blank. I'll put mine, which is Qunana, but you can put yours in your blank. So repeat after me. Qunana Yadia Yechet.
Guantan Yadi Ayachat.
Oh my God.
Sadika Yukwan Yadi Ayachat.
Okay.
I got a question on the last two, like
Yeah.
in regards to using them. So
Yeah.
I know like for myself and for a lot of people, like we can trace our lineage back. Like mine's like Hungarian, English, and Irish. But I don't really have like at this point in our line, like I don't really have a cultural connection to those countries.
Yeah.
So like for somebody like me, like what would be like the most appropriate verbiage for me to use? Like, can you just say
Yeah.
American or is that lame?
It's not lame. So this introduction, the way it was described to me by my elder mentor, Shachsanikik Shirley Kendall, one point she continues to drive home with new learners is it's your self-introduction. So it depends on how you identify. One recommendation, or at least what I can speak on my own experience, is that on my mother's side, I have ancestry that goes to my ancestral homelands, which in my case is European. And part of my healing process and my larger vision and goal of social healing and healing from colonization in Alaska and in America is learning to understand that and love who I am on both sides, and also respect that I do have ancestors from Europe. And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here today. So I don't like, I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm from Northern Germany. This is what we eat for breakfast. I don't know either, but since personally for me, it's a goal. I just look at it as, okay, for now, I can say I'm German American on my mother's side. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what I mean? Like I don't have a personal connection, but one day I would like to.
Yeah.
So it's how you identify what your goals are, and how you want to introduce yourself.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Geez. Good question. Are there any other questions?
What about identifying as white
Yeah.
instead of like a nationality of, because I in English that I'm Mexican on my mother's side, and then I always just say I'm white on the other side because it's like as opposed to the indigenous side, this is the other one. Is that how would that sort of sound to a Tlingit audience to say like on my father's side I'm white?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I love your question. And if you look like in Tlingit Qainachsa, they use the word Dleitqa, which is the color white man. And it's used for English, it's used for anyone of European ancestry. And I say it too when I'm talking in English, when I'm talking with my cousins and we're teasing, I'm like, oh, that's because of my white side. Or whatever. So, we make light of it, we have fun with each other. And the other thing I was gonna say is you can, but in America, so we can identify by our lineage, our ancestors, and that would include the ancestral lands we came from. And another way, so that's kind of more like a heritage identification. In America, we created a racial identification, which is a concept. It's a social concept we created to identify people by the color of their skin. If you want to identify by the color of your skin, you're more than welcome to. It's common in the English language, so it would make sense. It would be fine to do it if that's how you want to say, I am child of the white man. You totally can. Like I said, it's your self-introduction. But just understanding the different ways we identify are by social constructs. From a Tlingit, from the way I was taught to introduce myself in the Tlingit language was by honoring the ancestors from whom I come and the lands that from where I come. Whereas race is kind of a way to say you are this because your skin color is this. And, as we know in colonization, that got used as a tool to create a hierarchy of human value, which is what it is. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I think it's good to think about, because I think even in English when I introduce myself as white or the child of a white person, it is kind of a political statement, and it is to sort of, I don't know, maybe you have this experience, but when you are both colonized and colonizer represented in yourself, I think that's where some of that, like, it's just kind of a statement to say that I acknowledge that, like, half of me colonized the other half of me or something like that, you know?
Isn't that interesting? It's
Yeah.
like, for me, it's a daily conversation with myself. Like, where
Yeah.
is this coming from? Am I feeling this way or that way? Uh, yeah, I see people with their hands up and I want to hear from everybody. So,
Yeah, I had mine up.
yeah, go for it.
Um, because this conversation is this question is turning into a conversation, and whiteness wasn't actually a thing until the trans slavery started. And so a couple follow-ups of recognizing where your ancestry comes from and making that connection is going to be I think healing in many different ways, that you're connecting with your ancestors and learning more about that lineage and really honoring it, and not just saying that racialized classification of that white dominant culture to everyone else, saying I'm white. And so, really looking into what your root connections are and honoring that and lifting it and saying what it is. If it's German or like you don't really know. You don't have a connection because you've been disconnected for 500 years, because that's how long the genocide, was going on over here. So, Western European, Northern European. I have that in half of me also, and I definitely have felt that struggle of my indigenous side and my Western and Northern European sides clashing with each other. And I'm just at the beginnings of learning what that is, what that connection is, and it's going to take some time. But I think that if we just claim the generalization, that we're not really honoring the true connection.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Ganesh. And again,
Uh,
we're all at different areas, so however you identify today is good. It doesn't have to be a permanent milestone. It's just where we're at right now. Thank you for sharing. And
Definitely.
Tara, go ahead.
I know we probably have other things we want to talk about too, but quickly maybe. So I was born in Juneau and I grew up in Juneau, and so as much as my ancestors are from other places, and I'm not indigenous to Alaska, I'm from here. So I always feel like this strong connection. I wonder if there's a way to say that I'm Alaskan or something like that, or if that's presumptuous, also as a, who cares? I care, you know.
I care. I love that you shared that. Good question. So another line we'll learn is for where we live, and it'll sound like if you're from Juneau, which is Dantikihini, you would say Dantikihini Kechatyati. And there's ways to say I was born. We'll look at them today in a textbook. And this is your self-introduction. You can start crafting it and adding sentences on. The ones I'm teaching you now are for pronunciation's sake, because I want to hear you making all these underlined X sounds and the pinched sounds and the rounded sounds. But they're not set in stone. This doesn't have to be the way you always introduce yourself forever. Thank you for your question. And there was one more hand up.
Yeah, that was me. You talk about your mother's mother. How would you talk about your mother's father?
Yeah, your mother's father. We'll look at it because I'm gonna get it wrong if I say it off the top of my head. But I have the page open in the textbook that we'll look at for that.
Ah,
Gonna teach. Thanks for asking that. Good discussion. Any more? Are there any more comments or questions before we move on? Carrie?
How does one describe themselves? Because I am like native, I am 100% Ḳukahaa, but I was also adopted. So if how does one say that, like if you're introducing yourself? Because I do know a little bit about the biological family
Yeah.
and that, and you know, they're I kind of sort of know what the clan is and whatnot, but I don't really know too much. So, you know, when you're introducing yourself, do I just go by my adoptive parents' history?
That's a good question. Thank you for sharing and for asking. There is a way to say, this clan adopted me, and
Like when you say this clan, you mean my parents that raised me?
uh, yeah. So the parents that raised you, are they of Tlingit heritage?
No.
Okay. We'll craft it.
My father is German, my mother is Canadian, with her ancestry going from Ireland. So
Okay. Yeah.
I have no idea, but I do know, like I said, so how does one, for me, that's a little bit confusing. Like who do,
Yeah. Do you want to incorporate your Tlingit clan in your introduction?
well, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I mean, I think the clan is, I mean, traditionally, from what I understand, like we're the frogs,
Okay.
but then I think that's the clan, and then there's the, I don't know. I
Okay.
remember they were telling me all about it, but I do know that you know, I'm part of the, I guess, yeah, it would be the frog clan.
Okay, maybe kicks Adi. What we'll do, so I love your question. Thank you for asking. And what I can do, maybe not give you like a straight answer for this is what you need to do. I can take you through clan names. There's like a whole almost comprehensive chart of clan names, where they're from, the different houses, what areas they're from, and I'll connect you all with this resource. And just keep in mind that as we craft our introductions, we learn where we're coming from, if we're adopted, and we're learning who our clans are. It's a long-term journey, and we're just learning a little bit at a time. So, that's my ask of you, is that as we learn and look at these resources, we sort of put our knowledge together, and maybe it'll take a few days or weeks or months or maybe like a year. I've been learning Tlingit for 6 years, and my introduction changes all the time. So, depending on who I'm learning, new things that I'm learning.
I love that invitation, like to just like give so much love and grace as we learn who we are, and the layers of how to share that. I really appreciate this conversation. Thanks, everyone.
Me too. Really good questions. Are there any more questions or comments?
I just have another quick question. Because you're saying I am the child of, or I am the clan of, being part of the 60 scoop, how does like if someone says, because I get a lot of questions where people say, well, how did you end up with the family that I'm with when they're all Caucasian, when they're all white, and you're, and you know, I mean, I stand out and stuff, and you know, they say, and I tell them that yes, I was adopted and I do know the biological family, and then it all gets into this 60 scoop stuff, and then they all want to know about that. So how do I explain that? Like if I went back up to the Yukon, and you know, because there's lots of relatives up there that I don't even know, but they all have questions about this.
Yeah. Go
Can
ahead.
I,
Go
can I,
ahead.
okay, thank you. Hi, Carrie. When you were speaking earlier, I was wondering if you were part of the 60s scoop. And for those of you who don't know what the 60s scoop is, it was the taking of our children through adoption into white Euro-Christian families in Canada. And the same thing happened here in the United States, which was called the Indian Adoption Program, where we were placed on brochures and things like that and labeled as unwanted, unloved. And what it was a transition from residential boarding school institutions into the Office of Children's Services into foster care systems, the systems that are still taking our children away today. And so I just wanted to put a little context behind what Carrie is asking us here. And the thing is that they don't teach these things in our educational system. And so part of it comes with education, educating. We're learning who we are ourselves through this, remembering and finding our way back to our people through that system that took us away, that took Carrie, from her connections. And so I think that, the learning part of saying, I'm still learning, just being honest and open with it. And these are my people, and this is my adopted family, and this is who I am. I'm learning who I am. And there's a lot of healing in just saying that and explaining it. And I just wanted to put that out there to let everyone know the pieces that are missing, put the context to the conversation. And
Yeah, and thank you for letting us be part of. I view my language journey as part of my healing journey, and we're doing it, they go hand in hand as we learn where we come from. We learn to honor that our ancestors, honor the people who raised us, honor, there's a lot that goes into it. And so it's like, how do I identify? And then how do I say that in Tlingit? There's a lot. How do I pronounce the clan names? How do I know which clan is from where, or which clan I am biologically? We as people do not fit into a 4-line template. So I recognize that I open up a can of worms every time I teach self-introductions through this template, but it's good to open it up because we're here for each other. We're working through it together.
It's
Really
a little
good.
hard, I have to admit.
Say that again.
I just said that it was a little hard to, for myself to try and meld the two together.
Yeah.
Because being raised in a white family, and when I went back to Carcross, I could see the huge differences, like just in education, language, social graces, what have you. It was very eye-opening, and it was a little startling, to say the least, when I went back.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna Tish for sharing. I'm gonna take us to our next slide, but I'm gonna continue this conversation as your teacher. And we have comments in the chat. If you haven't seen, we have a lot of thank you. People are saying thank you to you, Carrie, for sharing your journey with us and being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing that it's hard because it makes us know that we're not the only ones going through it, even though each of us might have a different story or ancestry or our background.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we already just started our discussion, but we'll continue. So, for families with mixed heritage, we can apply nationality in place of clan. So, and the lines that we have so far are Dleitchad Einach, Yuchat Duasag, Tlingit Einach, Yuchat Duasag. Mother's nationality, Nachat Sitee, father's nationality, Yadi Ayechat. So going forward, a couple points we've already covered. Some of them, there are many ways to introduce yourself. Like I said, your self-introduction depends on how you identify. And just to reiterate, I chose these phrases that we're using today so that you are forced to practice the sounds for pronunciation practice sake. But now we're going to go to the beginning Tlingit workbook on page 80 and take a look at Tlingit identity.
Yay.
So yeah, so I'm going to close the chat, make sure I don't have that, and do a new share. And I'm going to show you the book right here. Okay. Do you see a page that says Ha Tlingit Sitee?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna read it and I'll zoom in. Okay, so this page is from the beginning Tlingit workbook. The book is edited and put together by René Lance Twitchell. He's my Tlingit language teacher as well as my professional mentor. And he built this book off the work that was done by Keochne Nora Marks Dowenhauer and Huaynik Richard Dowenhauer. And so it's he built on and added this excerpt. So I'm gonna zoom in, or I'll stay zoom in. Ha Tlingit Chsiti, our Tlingit identity. Tlingit clans are divided into two halves, which are often referred to as moieties, each of two parts. These two sides are Tleik Shangukedi, wolf, eagle, and Tleik Tlayinedi, raven, crow. Within each moiety, there are many clans, and clan identity is inherited through Hatla Yananach on our mother side, meaning through our matrilineal descent. These clans use images and connecting narratives as crests, which are often in the form of an animal, mountain, constellation, or supernatural creature. These images are attached to sacred stories that document why a clan uses particular crests. Crests, names, stories, houses, objects, and land are all a u, which literally translates as an owned thing, but within Tlingit culture means a sacred clan-owned thing. U is an important term within Hakusti, our language, our way of life, our culture. Knowledge of U helps solidify understanding of place and belonging, communal ownership and responsibility, and the respect needed to feel the connection between Ha'u, our sacred possessions, and Ha-shagun, our ancestors or our heritage. If something is considered a U of another clan, remember to not use it or talk publicly about it without that clan's permission. There are many clans, and many of them are related in groups based on migrations, divisions, and expansion. The following lists are not intended to define which clans come from which, or which ones have the specific ownership of which images. Instead, it is a list of known clans, the meaning of their clan name, if it's known, and the known primary and secondary crests of the clans. These clans are listed in groups that share a common origin. This is a growing list, and it is the result of the work of many hands and minds. As we continue to reclaim our knowledge and further our understanding of the complexities of clan relationships, the list will continue to grow and adjust. Understanding these relationships must come at a deeper level than who was first, who was right, or who is true. Instead, we must look at the many ways in which we are all related.
I love that part.
Yeah, and how those relationships should define our actions. Be careful how you treat your opposites and how and why you use a crest or share a clan's stories. Always carry respect in front of you, like a gift that makes the world a better place. This list is based on an unpublished manuscript by Jeff Lear dated November of 1985 entitled Tlingit Tribe, Clan, and House Group Names. Lear's basis was Frederica de Laguna's table of Tlingit tribes and clans, published in the Northwest Coast volume of the Handbook of North American Indians. This was based on a table compiled by George Emmons, as later edited and published in De Laguna's The Tlingit Indians, which was an adaptation of Emmons's notes and manuscripts. Okay. It has been reorganized and added to with information James Crippen obtained from various elders, as well as information from other sources, such as Andrew Hope III's Tlingit Map and Tribal List. Additional changes and additions were made by Lance Twitchell and Kanan Bausler based on the work of Harold Jacobs, consultations with fluent speakers, and Tom Thornton's Some Tlingit Clans Names for Place and Their Distribution and Being in Place Among the Tlingit. Okay, last section. The last group is naax, a clan outside of the wolf, eagle, and raven crow moieties that could marry into either one. The clan map is partially reproduced with permission from the late Andrew Hope III. Okay, that was a lot, but I wanted you to see how much work went into compiling this list, and also that it, even René, when he writes it, acknowledges it's not a complete list. It's not meant to make anyone right or wrong, but it's a resource for us as we learn clan names, the places they're from, their crests, and houses within those clans. So is everybody good? Are there any questions or comments before we scroll through?
What was this one?
This is Beginning Tlingit Workbook by René Lance Twitchell. And I'll put this link in the chat so people can find it. And I'll also show you. Make sure I can put this in the chat without. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put a link in the chat of where you can find this book online for free. And this table is page 81. And what we read was just on page 80. Okay. And so the table is organized by clan on the left, its meaning and origin. And then just to the right of that, primary crests, and then secondary crests. And then the fourth column is location and houses. So the first group is Nanya'ai. And so we have Nanya'ai, people of the upper river. I'm going to zoom in so it's a little easier to read. We have Ţʻiqnaq people of Black Bear Bay, Limestone Inlet on Stevens Passage. You can see their crests, their secondary crests, and the houses within Ţʻiqnaq, which would be on Hit Firehouse and on Hit House of Gentle Courage. In the self-introductions that I've taught you so far, you're not including that much information. But if you learn your house and you want to share it, I can teach you how to add those on.
The link that and what's on that link now is different than what you're showing us. Is that true for other people too?
Okay, sorry. Let me see.
So
I'm gonna do a new share. One sec. And
well, it's a nice presentation the way it looks there. This is nice too, but it's different.
Okay, let's
And
go.
the passage you just shared with us is different than the one here.
Oh, really?
It is, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
I think yours sounds like a later
Oh,
version.
okay. So, okay, let me take you there and make sure I give you the right link. So if you go into clinkitlanguage.com and scroll over the resources tab to beginning materials, the first hit is the beginning Tlingit workbook, and this is the book we're using. It's based on beginning Tlingit. So I'm going to click this and put this link in the chat because this is the one I want you to use. One moment, please. Okay. So I just put it in the chat, and the way you find it, is if you scroll down to the table of contents, you can click each section in the link she first shared. It's on page 81. Okay. If you zoom into the table of contents under the chapter called Wasai Duasak, which means how are you called?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is, it's just a matter of it being numbered differently. I apologize.
Oh, okay. So
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm clicking City. If you click it in the table of contents, it actually takes you straight to that chapter, which is nice. But we can see it'll be on page 80.
Got it. Thank you.
Here's what we just read, this excerpt, this explanation. And here we have the table that we're looking at. So then we have a Duxloid group. Are there any groups or clans people want to look at specifically so far?
What? Aguantan.
Pagwantan, okay. So we're gonna scroll down. We have the Tequidi group, the Tequidi, under the Kagwantan group, it's on page 83. And we have Kagwantan, People of the Burnt House, Sitka. Primary crest, wolf or brown bear. Secondary crest, eagle, murrelet, noble killer whale, beaver and yakutat, storm petrel, halibut, and star. And then we have the houses. So within the clan, you can have different houses and you can be from a specific house. But we're out of time. No! I had a video I wanted to show you, but we had such a good discussion that I'm glad that we filled up that time with our discussion. And I'm just going to give you the links to the video, well, at least to one of them. Next week, when we come together, I'm going to share this video of this lovely speaker, Antonia Jack. And she introduces herself, and I want us to listen to the way she does it so that we can see there are multiple ways to listen to you. I want you to listen for phrases and words you understand. And she's just a really beautiful speaker. I love the way she delivers. We'll do that. And then I also want you to watch Ḳukahaa. So next week, I'll properly introduce the recording of Antonia Jack, and we'll study it. But for homework, you can watch Ḳukahaa. I think you're going to like it a lot. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you click that link in the chat, it's going to open up and it'll play ads and everything. But after class, go ahead and just open it up and hit pause. And then after class, go ahead and watch it. It's a 6.5 minute long storybook that's illustrated and narrated. And it's all in Tlingit. And we'll be studying it for the next month. Any questions or comments before we go? I'm gonna check the chat, make sure I didn't forget anybody. Okay, loved the discussion today. Me too. All right, Yuhan. Gunnachish hati de tsuyi kwesitin. I'll see you all again. Have a great rest of your day.
Sheesh.
Okay.
Siagan.
Ah.
Gunnachish.
Anna.
Okay.
I'll wait for the others to drop off.
Mm-hmm.